Alright kids, this is lesson for day 129. We're going to talk about corresponding parts of congruent figures. So we can make assumptions when things are congruent. For example, all our tables are congruent. Okay, I put you all into congruent groups. Okay, so let's just have, there's corresponding parts to each group, right? So I'm going to have Alexis stand up. I would like every other person that has the same corresponding part as her group to stand up, okay? So Alexis, stand up. Who are the corresponding group members in each group that are corresponding to Alexis in the position where Alexis is? They should stand up. Is everyone who should be standing up standing up?
Yeah.
No, who else needs to stand up? Her. Emily needs to stand up. Emily, stand up, please. That's okay. I want you to stand up, though. You do a good job.
Okay.
Yay. Are we all standing up? All the corresponding parts? Okay, cool. Sit down. All right? So that's the idea. If we can make an assumption, thank you, Emily. I appreciate that. Good job. Then we can make an assumption of things that are congruent or equal, okay? So things to know. So this is the rule right here, is that if two figures are congruent, then the corresponding sides are congruent and corresponding angles are congruent. So like when we have two congruent shapes, that means they are exactly the same. Their corresponding sides and angles are also the same. We can make assumptions, okay? So it's kind of like logic. We're going to use like the law of syllogism, like deductive reasoning. So here's the deductive reasoning. Here's my first statement. And tell me what logically happens at my third statement, okay? I'm going to give you two statements. First statement. All San Dimas kids are awesome. Okay? Second statement. Damien is a San Dimas kid. Therefore, Damien is what? Awesome, right? Does that make sense? Did you all see the logic in that? You drew a conclusion. Again, all San Dimas kids are awesome. Damien is a San Dimas kid. Therefore what? Damien is awesome. We talked about that. Remember doing that a few weeks ago? Okay, same idea. We can make assumptions. If we say if we have two figures that are congruent, and then we say these two sides are congruent, then we can make assumptions about their measures. Okay? And here are some properties from before. Reflexive property of congruence, meaning that we know that line segment AB is congruent to line segment AB. It's congruent to itself, right? Just like 1 is equal to itself, 2 is equal to itself. A side is equal to itself, okay? The next one is the symmetric property. It's like our face. We have a line of symmetry. So if we say line segment AB is congruent to line segment CD, then we can reverse that. We can use the symmetric property to say line segment CD is congruent to line segment AB. And then the transitive property of congruence, we have if line segment AB is congruent to line segment CD, and line segment CD is congruent to line segment EF, then we can use the law of syllogism or logic, right, to say that AB is congruent to EF. And I've taught you this before, okay? Does this all make sense so far? Okay. So here we go. Okay, so concurrent sides and angles. So on these problems, we want to make sure you read them very carefully, okay? So today's going to be a lot of logic, and we're going to make assumptions, and I know you could do this. It's going to be super easy. Let me just show you numbers, or this first one here, okay? So we got, let me read it. It says, find the congruent sides and angles that are paired with the sides and angles below. And then it gives us an assumption, okay? We could assume, eyes up here, need to help you out, okay? So we got triangle ABC. We're saying triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, meaning A will be congruent to D. Remember on the pretest the other day? B is congruent to E and C is congruent to F. Do y'all see that? Okay, cool. So that means this triangle ABC is congruent to DEF. Okay? Y'all follow me? These are exactly the same. Yes? Okay, good. So here we go. Write 6 congruent statements about this, okay? So let's make some assumptions first line segment AB we know should correspond to, angle A or point A is going to be correspond to point D. Angle B is going to correspond to point E. And then C is going to correspond to F. Okay? What are some other assumptions? I know that AB, line segment AB, would you agree that line segment AB should correspond to line segment DE? Would you all agree with that? Cool, so I'm going to say that as well. Line segment BC should correspond to line segment, what, everyone? Line segment EF, that's right. And line segment AC should correspond to line segment DF, okay? So we're making some assumptions here. Now I'm going to make some congruent statements, okay? So I'm going to write 6 congruent statements about triangle ABC and triangle DEF. So this is what you're learning today, okay? Alright, so I'll do 2 of the 6 and then you as a group will do the other 4, okay? So there are 3 3 congruent line segments and we have 3 congruent angles. Ready? So I'm going to do 1 line segment, 1 angle, and then you're going to do the rest. So I can make an assumption that line segment AB is congruent to line segment DE. This is my first congruent statement, okay? This is my first congruent statement. The second congruent statement is angle A is congruent to angle D. Okay? That's the second congruent statement. Okay, there's 4 more. So as a group, I'd like you to finish writing. What are the 4 congruent statements that are left? You're writing them down, and then we're going to come together as a class, okay? Ready, set, and... What are my congruent statements, everyone? Okay, Ollie, what's the first one? Or what's one of them?
Angle C is equal to angle F.
Okay, would you all agree that angle C is congruent to angle F? Okay, what's another one? Other than Ollie, someone else, another group. Angle, I'm sorry? We already got that one right here. Do another one. Yes, Bernie. Good, angle B is equal to angle E. Good. Give me now the line segments. We got 2 more to go. Yep.
Line segment BC congruent to line segment EF.
Good. Line segment BC is congruent to line segment EF. Last one. Friend. Good. That's right. Okay, so here they are, right? So this is the correct way down here to write down your congruent statements, okay? So did you notice that there were 6 parts, or 6 congruent statements we made from a triangle, right? So what if we had a quadrilateral like this next one? 2 quadrilaterals that are congruent. Quadrilateral JLM is congruent to PQRS. How many statements do you think we would have for these 2? How many, everyone? 8. Okay, good. So you're going to work as a group now. Again, I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Write down all of the congruent statements, okay? 2 minutes. Ready, set, go. What's one of the statements, Matthew?
JK is equal to PQ.
Good. Or say line segment JK is congruent to PQ. Cool. Thank you so much for saying that correctly. Next one, Dominique. What's the next congruent statement? Anyone you want. You can do it, Dominique. I know you can do it. Okay. LK, uh-huh. You said LK? Good. Line segment LK is congruent to line segment RQ. Thank you, Dominique. Next, Amber.
Line segment ML is congruent to line segment SR.
Excellent. Line segment ML is congruent to SR. And I like how you see how you're going backwards. You're doing ML backwards, SR. Good. And I think Dominique did the same thing. Good job. Damien, give me another congruence statement.
M equals 5.
M equals 5? There's no 5 on this problem.
I need S.
Oh, S. Okay, so angle M is equal to angle S. Let's say that correctly, Damien. Angle M is congruent to angle S. Okay. Good. Next group, Cassandra. Good. Angle K is congruent to angle Q. Okay. Next, John. Congruent, not equal. Congruent. Okay. Sunny. Next one. Okay, and last one, Francisco.
Angle K is congruent to angle Q.
Okay, good. So these are all of them right here, right? Y'all see that? These are all of them. Okay, cool. Let's keep going here. Next one. So now that we know we can make assumptions, what happens when we add measurements, okay? So check this out. Eyes up here. Eyes up here, okay? So this is why we make the assumptions, because we can use, since we can make assumptions, we could easily use logic to figure out what the answer is, okay? For example, from earlier, I said all San Dimas students are awesome. Damien is a San Dimas student, therefore what? Damien is awesome, right? Remember doing those statements about 3 weeks ago in class? You made up your own? Okay, cool. So look what the assumption is right here. Eyes up here. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Okay, ABC is congruent to DEF. Hey, what do you notice about these two triangles? Are they... We know they're the same, they're congruent, so they're not dilated, but what did you notice? What other transformations occur between these two?
That one.
What's that called? You know it. Come on, dude. You got this. What is it? Good. It's reflected. What else is happening? It's not just reflected, but it's also... Good. Okay, cool. Excellent. Find the given side or angle measure. So you see angle D, or I'm sorry, line segment DE. DE is down here, right? So I know it's supposed to go A, B, C, D, E, F. So DE is going to be congruent to AB. Do y'all see that? So what's that? Since I don't know what DE is, I can look at its corresponding side. What's the length of its corresponding side, everyone? Good, so that's the answer, 2.6 centimeters. So what's number 2? What's the answer number 2? Discuss your neighbors, 10 seconds. What's the answer number 2? What's the measure of angle B? What is it, everyone? Okay, let's check it. So angle B is over here. I know that angle B has to be its corresponding angle is angle E. And angle E we know is 65. Therefore, angle B is got to be also 65. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Okay, so let's keep going here. I would like you to do numbers 3 and 4 with your groups, okay? So I'll give you 1 minute. Go.
1 minute?
Yeah, 1 minute. That's all. So, line segment SU. What's the length of line segment SU, everyone? 33. What? 43 feet? Okay, cool. Let me show you a little trick. Ready? So you could use lines to help you easily see which sides are corresponding. So check this out. I know that side ST should have a corresponding side with side what? What's this corresponding? WB, right? So you see how I put one single green dash here, or just one single dash? Now watch me do that for the other ones. TU, you see how TU is another side? I know TU corresponds with WX, right? So I'm going to put 2 lines here on my paper. Do you see that? And then I'm using 3 lines for the last side. Do you see that? Do you see how much easier that is to figure out what the answer is? So again, what's line segment SU? What's the length of it again?
43.
How do you know that? Because what is else is 43 feet? The corresponding side, which is? Good, XV. Do y'all see that? Do you see how much logic you just used? You're like, oh, it's 43 because I know that its corresponding side, XV, is 43. Okay, cool. What's the measure of angle S, everyone?
18.
Why?
Oh.
18 or 38? Well, how do you know? Okay, where does angle S lie? What between which two sides? The red and the green, or the 3 dash side and the 1 dash side. You see? You see how this one has 3 and 1? So it has to be here. Does that make sense? You see how important those dashes are? Yes? Okay, good. Keep going here. Do the same thing here on 5 and 6. Okay, with your groups. Discuss what transformation is happening here. I know that these are congruent because the problem says so right up here. It says IJK is congruent to RTS. So I know it's not dilated, but is it translated, reflected, rotated? Okay. Okay, talk to your groups, figure out these two answers, and then we'll be done. What's the measure of line segment TR? 61 feet. Why do you know that? Okay, good. And what's the measure of J, angle J? Good. Okay, good. So, and this is what you could do. Ready? Remember doing the dashes, right? Raise your hand if you did the dashes, at least in your brain. You were like, oh, I know there'd be a dash and a dash here. Oh, there's a square there? The little 90-degree angle? Good. Right angle, yes. Atta girl, using that language, yes.
Proud of you.
Yes, I'm proud of you too. Good job. Let's all clap at Amber. Okay. Good. Everyone was clapping. Okay, cool. All right, that's it. I think we got it. So I'm going to end the lesson there.